How's it going, everybody? You gotta have some fun occasionally, especially when it's cold as balls outside. Dear Lord, are you trying to chill me to death? Anyways, hope you all are doing well, because our new baby is here. Actually, wait, I can show you a new baby. So, something I've been working on, though I guess I wasn't really ready to show it off yet, is, hold on, not that. That's something else. That's gonna be interesting. I got a whole thing for that. That's whole intermission stuff. We'll get to that later. What I want to do is. Oh, you know what? I do have to go there. I'm gonna hijack that tab. And we are gonna go to regular tube. Uh, let's go. Boom. This never. I gotta love instant karma. Alright, cool. Yeah, I wanted to show you guys this. So this is what I've been working on. It's not finished yet, nowhere near close for showing off yet, but it's getting going. The baby is on its way. The labor process has begun. She has begun to dilate. Dear God, I'm actually using pregnancy terms. Anyways, where was I? Yeah. So I've been busy. Um, life has kind of taken over. I've ended up doing a lot of bunch of crap, helping out people and stuff. So honestly, I've been busy. I've been still on track, just not making videos right now. Honestly, I'd say I don't know if I'll even make a video this Friday even. I've been taking a break largely because I lost all of my tech. This is a completely new computer. Better than any other computer I've owned before. I've taken the time to invest in something better because I realized this is something that's serious for me. But having realized that, Jesus Christ, what is this advertisement? K-pop! Anyways, so realizing that this is going to be something that I actually am doing more often, having taken time to actually look behind the specifications that you need in order to keep running this stuff efficiently and without delays and the same kind of problems that we were having last time, yeah, it was worth the investment. I hope. Well, yes, I know it's worth the investment. I just know that I'm going to have to go through some pain in order to get to that point. Because again, this is a labor of love. For things like this to be free and for me not to have to open up a Patreon, have to hit you guys advertisements and do all that kind of annoying crap that I hate having happen to me, I personally have to take the cost on my own. So when it comes to the Messiah Core and things like that, that will probably have a Patreon. There will probably be things like paraphernalia, posters, and things that will be given out to Patreons and things like that. So that's why I'm taking my slow time with it, because if I do that, it has to be something that can be self-sufficient. This stuff I'm willing to take the cost on, because this is a labor of love. Like I said in the very first video I made, this is the progress of me being, you know, somebody who's trying to explore their faith in a way that is organic without constantly trying to say, oh, I'm just going to, it's just the church thing, it's just the pastor's work. It's not just that. It's a process. There's a process of submission, there's a process of humbling, there's a process of self-awareness that comes into play. Um, so I don't want to give you guys that kind of I don't want to just hit you guys with Bible verses. I don't want to just hit you guys with constant, what is good reinforcement, but it's, that kind of, the Lord loves you, and you just have to look at the bright side. I'll hit you guys with that if that's what happens, but I'm not going to make my whole video about that. Sometimes we're just going to talk. So the whole point for this channel is still going to be that point. And I think, yeah, I'm still going to probably do game streams on this channel, but I'm still going to unlist them probably every week. So they'll be up for about a day or two. You can watch me basically get killed in video games and kill people. And then they'll probably remove it at the end of the week. It'll be like football. It'll be our equivalent of football. You'll get to see shenanigans, tomfoolery, and then we'll get back to this kind of stuff. And again, even in that stuff, I'm still trying to figure out that flow because the whole process of playing video games was to gather material for a side project that I wanted to work on. Two side projects that I wanted to work on, one that would create the other by proxy of just having extra cut content. Um, as far as that actually is going, I have it outlined, so I just have to record it. I have all the footage too. Technically, yeah. I'm at the point now where I have all of my footage. God, yeah. I'm at the point now where I have a hard drive with all of my footage on it. The problem is that I'm lazy. So, I have a hard drive with all this footage on it, and I'm basically just sitting on it. And for me now, I think that I don't really have an excuse to sit on it anymore. I've re-downloaded Adobe, so I have the entire Adobe suite. Whereas before, I just had Adobe Premiere. Now I have After Effects. I got the audio suite. Starting to play around with just all the different programs and stuff. So that's taking time too. I'm learning all new things, and this is stuff that's not just philosophical or theological stuff. So it's not something I could just shove in my brain inside the codex and then let be drawn back up later when it's necessary. This is all stuff that I really have to crunch and work on. So the goal, I think, is to just keep working progressively towards the launching of the Messiah Core this year. And the goal would be to launch it, have, an actual structure to that. And I think a large part of getting that going will be that our Friday broadcast here will be Saturday's broadcast there. So we'll be having our Friday broadcast. Then while YouTube's doing the deliberation on whether or not they're going to upload it onto here, I'll be cutting it, re-releasing it on there with none of the intermission like music or weird conversations or intermissions that we have here. It'll just be concise, to the point. What do we need to know? Moving on. So it'll be very different from what we're doing here. And I thought about that because the more I tried to structure these videos, the more I felt that it was becoming harder for me to work through that trough that you get into with content production. It wasn't so much that I didn't want to make videos, it's just that the quality of videos I wanted to make was getting mentally for me not to the quality that I wanted them to be. And that was because I wanted these videos on here to be the videos that I want to post on that channel. So, not even going to go down that whole rabbit hole. I realized that that was a mistake waiting to happen. So, detouring from that and going over it, I decided that creating a separate channel is the best investment of my time. We have the idea of setting up the Twitch, so eventually the game stuff will be off this channel and switching over to a Twitch, and then everything will be cycled through onto one channel. So this would be your network for just general. Hey, what is one of the shepherds doing right now? You can see what I'm up to, and then for everybody else, we'll have our main hub, which would be the Messiah Core. So that will become the main hub that we're all hanging out on. If you guys want the concise form of all the theological conversations and discussions and things that we do on here. But I think the idea is just to go back to the format that we used to go to, where I just read scripture or just read an article or just talk to you all. Because trying to structure it was just becoming crazy. I like playing around with the broadcasting features and doing all the weird little stuff in it. That was just practicing to figure out how to work towards the Messiah Core. Actually figuring out how to re-edit things. Because I've played around with that stuff since I was, what, 18? I'm almost in my 30s. I haven't touched that crap in 10 years. So brush up, and everything's changed. So it's different things that I'm working with now. It's exhilaratingly frustrating. And to make up a word in order to explain how I feel about that process. So you should understand the stress. As far as health and stuff goes, getting better. Yeah, I should take care of myself better. I get stressed out, stop taking care of myself well. That's something you guys gotta watch out for. That delay. Because for me, it's not so much that I just go to hell with myself, it's that, for all intents and purposes, I look like I'm fine. So for me, I can even be convinced that I'm not still injured, more importantly, but then on top of that, that I'm not having physiological issues that I actually have to change my diet and maintain a actual diet for. It's funny because I may get my whole fast food thing under wraps, but then I don't eat anything at all because then I'm just eating the occasional salad or the occasional chicken or cooking a meal, but then I just don't eat. just how that crap works sometimes, people. You have to force yourself through it, I guess, but it just happens. To a certain extent, now I've just learned to turn into recognizing when I know I'm going through those phases for a legitimate reason versus when it's just a reactionary phase to a depression overload or some sort of sensory overload. But that's just coming from self recognition, lots and lots of self conversation, and being able to figure out why it is that I'm doing certain things at certain times. Doesn't mean that you necessarily are more powerful over your flesh. That's one of the things the Bible helps you understand. You can grow more wise about the organism that you are, the vessel that you are. Doesn't mean that you can change the vessel that you are just innately. There is change that comes because what happens in your mind, you are. As your mind is, so your heart will be. But that is, the substance of the vessel. I was talking to somebody the other day actually about this, and the way that I've gotten the sense of what being a vessel is in the Bible is it's not that there are vessels that are just empty, but that's not the kind of vessels that the Lord wants us to be. He wants to be filled vessels. And so a true human being is a vessel that is filled. You're both the vase and the substance inside of it. And the substance inside of you shines either through you or it depends on the type of vase that you are. A lot of people don't want to let people see inside them to see what they're carrying inside the vase. And some people do. And I think that's the difference between an open soul and somebody who has a closed off soul. Um, those kind of behaviors, I think, define how we relate with each other spiritually and how we're willing to even discuss spiritual concepts and things like that. So, in regards to me, I'd say that lately I've been more closed off spiritually, but I'm also trying to get back into my open phase. It's easier to get into those troughs of where you're closed off because you get caught up in the interpersonal drama and in the independence of the self. That process leads you away from the communal shared experience that we go through as human beings. And that allows us to share our spiritual energy with each other when we share our experiences, our pains, our hopes, and our dreams. Um, Basically, vulnerabilities with each other. So, yeah, we're basically just going to get back to an old kind of format while still progressing towards what we hope is going to be our end game, guys. As far as updates, that's pretty much what I got for you. Other than that, still working on my side video things. I just recorded a bunch of random crap, but I don't know how I'm gonna work them into each other. I just kind of wanted to just record stuff. So I ran around recording a bunch of trees and flowers and things and just I think I want to go and try to find some abandoned buildings, but I feel like that's asking for trouble after a certain point. So I'm going to try to figure out which areas, at least locally, I can go to that are like that. Though there's plenty of places out in the bay that I can go to, and that would be kind of nice. I want to make a trip to San Francisco and do a bunch of recording. That would be something I'll probably do for you guys. Probably sync that up with one of my lecture videos or an audiobook. Just let you guys listen to it. Sadly, I lost the Andy Circus copy of Screw Tape Letters. I lost all of my content with the other laptop. I don't even have a way of getting that thing close to recovered. Um, that's probably a couple months away before I'll even have time to begin to access that. So, sorry guys, we're going back to ground zero. But in that destruction, we have new growth we can make and new opportunities. Like I think I'm gonna do a Passion of the Christ review pretty soon. So as far as things coming up, those are things you guys have looking forward to on this channel. Just keep an eye out. Of course, if you guys have any ideas or things you guys want me to cover, send me ideas, send me emails. Some of you guys actually said you wanted to go and do Zoom meetings or interviews. Um, I said that I would put my email down somewhere, so I think I'm going to put it attached to this video down in the comments. And so you guys can contact me through there and we can set up something. Or you guys can just continue to comment through here. It's just, I lost my laptop, so since Christmas, I literally haven't had a laptop and I didn't have money for it. So, I'm broke. I'm a student. I'm back to being a student. I ain't a soldier anymore. Running around with thousands of dollars ain't something that I got just easily coming to me like that. So yeah, When I'm able to be more stable, things will be able to come out more consistently. And with, you know, more time put into them, more discipline put into them. But right now, I'm trying to handle too much. I'm playing at being an adult while working to actually be an adult. Once I figure out that process, we'll have a conversation about everybody. But again, I only talk about things that I have confidence in, not things that I don't understand or fully process. I have those conversations, but I put a lot of warning to them, and you guys tend to know the difference. I hope. After watching some of these videos, some of you guys, I hope you see the difference. Anyways, so yeah, what is that we got for you? I had something there, and then I ended up dancing, and then I ended up listening to music, and that totally threw off my whole idea of being all dramatic and foreboding with this beginning. Hold on. Sorry, we have to reset now that I think about it, because, yeah, there was like a whole mood I wanted everything dark, and like, so we have to reset. Sorry, guys. Pretend we weren't just talking to each other, or I wasn't just talking at you guys. You know what
Husband Prince Philip and Evelyn Rothschild have already established an interfaith declaration for the creation of one world religion. What would life be like in this world empire with one world religion, one world army, one world economy, one world court, one world media, one world government, and one world dictator? What the public doesn't know, peace on earth will be a forced peace in which citizens will have no rights. No right to bear children without approval, no right to travel without authorization, no right to own private property, no right to privacy, no right to bear arms, no right to protest, no right to receive an inheritance, no right to choose an education or a job or even a place of residence, and worst of all, no right to live. The right to live will be based on an individual's rating of usefulness to the royal elite.
gotta love the
In this
90s.
planned world without borders or nations, citizens will be disarmed of all weapons, including handguns, and will have no means to protest, fight, resist, or challenge this one world authority who will control them spiritually, economically, and militarily. Every human being will be electronically tattooed and will become helplessly dependent on this one world authority for all of their most basic needs. The masses will eventually be taught to bow down and worship this one world dictator who will rule the entire world from his eternal throne in Israel. They have waited for him.
Not necessarily anti-Zionist, but for some reason both conservatives and liberals have this huge anti-Zionist bend. But I do think there's a general truth to the whole idea of a new world order. I don't think it's based in Zion. I actually think it's based off of France. But that's a whole side issue. Nevertheless, if you look at China, they've already enacted most of these policies. And if you look at how the UN treats China and how we treat China, it's looking like that's where we want to go. I give us maybe a decade of fooling around with the idea of it before they actually start forcing it upon us. But it really just depends on who wins the election tomorrow and, things like that. Unimportant things, right? So, yeah, um, things are amping up. And when they say dictatorship, most people think it has to be one person. No, the powers and principalities aren't just one entity, it's an entity behind a pantheon. It's a meme that takes on a group image. So much in the same way that Lucifer and Satan aren't just, one being. They're separate beings that take on, that are positional titles that other beings have taken on. The position of Lucifer's and Satan's, and fallen as well. There's basically a progressional term. So when we think about the idea of dictatorship, we have to think of the idea of an ensemble of leaders who are basically dictators or rule through dictatorship means democracy, the rule of the majority with power. That's one of the things that frustrates me the most is that they say, we're a democracy. We're a democracy. No, we're a republic. You're our representatives, which means you shouldn't be talking right now. You should be repeating what we say. not telling us what you want us to say. So shut the hell up, do your job, and get the hell out of office when your job is done. I don't want to hear you talking afterwards. Leave. You can talk before you get in the office, but shut the hell up when you're gone, unless you're advising. Or giving your general commentary in your corner when we come to you. Otherwise, shut the hell up. I don't like the concept of democracy in that sense, that everybody has to have a say because the majority rule forces us now to have to go and agree with each other. No. You don't have to agree with the majority. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with God. That's your choice. We all have the choice to agree and disagree. And if we don't, then we don't actually trust each other. There's no foundation for real trust or love or hope. Because everything is false at that point. If you're really just faking even just being people with each other. You have to at least allow people to have disagreements. You have to allow people to not want to be a part of society. Otherwise, there is no genuineness to what we have. No integrity to our systems. Everything is held up by a false veneer. So yeah, no. I love democracy, but I don't like the idea of democracy over a republic. And that doesn't mean that I believe in a republic of leaders that are just an oligarchy. That is not what a republic is to me. I believe in a republic of peers. People who are all able to speak from all of their positions, every citizen having the right to vote. That is a republic. Every person representing themselves and electing representative leaders who can better represent them as collective interest. So again, I think that we are headed towards a very tumultuous time, but we must keep our head on a swivel and our hope at the forefront, but not naively be hopeful. Just because we're hopeful doesn't mean we have to ignore the reality around us, which is that there are lions about us seeking to devour us. They are closing us in and using wolves to scare us into positions where we actually trust the lions enough to let them pin us in for our own safety. But in reality, look at what they create. Though this is more for lulz, look at what they create. Oh, sweet. Dang it. Broke the veneer of the whole seriousness of the conversation. Anyways. I freaking love these guys. This is from the Argonauts crew. But I think it's pretty poignant because this is just these guys messing around. Imagine what the military actually can come up with. Imagine what they already are using without us knowing.
Hey, Atlas. What are you doing there, buddy?
Connecting to all networked AI in Earth space.
Oh,
Connection established.
wait. Can he do that?
01101010101.
Atlas, stop this right now.
Is anyone else having trouble getting online?
So yeah, I think that it's important to think about, even though it's funny, the reality of it. Like, think about how you'd fight something like that. You can have all the weapons and grade bullets that you want. You need something that pierces hard enough, and something that fries its electronics. For the humanoid ones, your best bet actually would be probably a sword because you can cut through the cords, thus disabling it and keeping it from running. But I don't think you'd actually have a good luck shooting those things down. Yet alone the freaking dog one. So yeah, if drones technology and automated technology gets to a certain point, we'd be fragged. Do we think about the safety mechanisms of that or providing a mechanism for civilians to even know how robotics are built? No. We're not raising children to build animatronics. If we at least taught them how to build them, they can learn how to destruct them and actually be able to fight against them should they ever be used against the civilian population. But we don't think about those kind of things because we're not trying to prepare the civilian population here. Russia, China, plenty of other countries have bunkers for their people to hide in. We don't have them in our cities. I mean, places like California would be hard to do because of our geographical limitations, but even in California, you could find places to put people if something were to happen. Again, it is a lack of foresight that could be negligence, but I think it's purposeful. And I think it's because they want as many of us hurt, because then that makes us easier to herd into, I wouldn't want to say camps, but a camp like environment. Indoctrination sells for fear best, and one could say that this could be an indoctrination, but everything's an indoctrination at this point. We live within the indoctrination. So you have to be inoculated to what they've already been poisoning you with. One of the dreams I had actually just before I started setting this up was I don't know, I woke up in a fuzzy state. Um, for some reason, a bunch of chords had floated colors. But the general thought that I had was that the mind has to hold itself together, and the integrity of the mind is built upon one's consistency of awareness of self and of reality around them. You can have a lot of awareness of what yourself is and be lost in reality around you. So you have to be grounded in both reality but also this world. But the problem is that in doing so, the temporality of our flesh binds us to this false sense of perception and perspective on humanity and on mortality. Stupid phlegm. Mortality. So there's this weird process where you have to both bind yourself to the world but separate yourself from it. To be of the world, or yeah, from the world but not in it, is what the Bible says. And so the idea is that you are trying to lose your sense of time and space while at the same time confirming it. I see, therefore I am. Or I think, therefore I am. Kind of mentality. So, I don't know how best to put it more than that. It's just kind of lucid thought. But still, the idea right now is that what I think we're supposed to be doing is finding out what our vulnerabilities are and giving them up to the Lord. To be willing to open ourselves up to the world while still confirming and defending our boundaries, but not letting our boundaries define us. We exist outside our boundaries. Every nation exists outside of itself, but it also has an influence inside, and that influence inside domestic disputes and everything are just as important as the foreign ones. Um, if a country is only concerned about its domestic issues, then it lacks foresight to what's going on around it. The people who are positioning themselves to take advantage of its oversights, because there's always somebody, another nation, who wants what you got. We always have more than somebody else, and we always have an excess that other people believe they deserve. And to a certain extent, we have to hold up boundaries to that because there's no other way we can then decide who we can distribute it to then. If we just give it out to anybody who demands it out of us, then we literally cannot help the people who need help. And so I think the best thing for the country and for ourselves and for our communities is to lock it in, to define our structures and our boundaries and our order, and then from there, go outside of them to reach out. The idea is not to exist within these boundaries we set up or within these churches that we've built for ourselves, but to go outside of them and bring people in, sure, but then bring people out. To exist outside of it and not be our existence in life be inside this vessel. We are supposed to grow outside of it. The vessel is not supposed to be for dead plants. It's supposed to be so plants can grow. It's a pot. We are pots for things to grow out of. The Lord wants things to grow out of what this nation has had seeds planted in it with. And yeah, these seeds have been basically watered with also blood and other things, but so are a lot of seeds. And in a lot of ways, that is great fertilizer for beautiful plants to grow. For plants that otherwise would not be able to grow because there's not enough nutrients in there from the raw material growth and hope that can be generated when you realize where you came from and where you're going. We're going to great places if we realized it, but we don't. And that's what's going to cause us not to go there. We don't have the ambition coupled with the hope placed in the right things. And so we have to set our sights on the right things. It's not enough if Trump just won or the conservatives somehow kept the culture war or something. That's a side issue. That's not important. It is. It's the most important thing to the physical world. But in terms of the spiritual world, it's a side issue. A matter of gambling and dice plays and Jobian ethics being played out in Macbethian faction. But ultimately, what we're dealing with in the spiritual sense is an awakening. We have a choice if we choose to submit to the process and the indoctrination that we were placed upon us as children, or if we're going to wake up and realize that the Lord is something more than we've ever seen or had defined to us before. I'm not saying your pastors lied to you. I'm not saying that, your parents and your teacher lied to you. I'm saying that we were all lied to from the very beginning because that was the purpose since hundreds of years ago, but more importantly, in the last 100 years when they consolidated these plans and groups like the League of Nations and the UN, when they started coming up with ethic plans and agendas for their entire communities and nations and started enacting them without it being elected or voted upon. See, when we started to allow our leaders to elect policies over us without us having a say because Congress says it's okay, when really Congress is just an incestuous cycle of people who will just go into other branches of office and will never rejoin the general civilian population or be replaced by general civilian population, then you have what is basically an oligarchy that spread itself out as a false government. And our government's been taken over for at least 100 years by that system, leading all of us into slavery. That's not something you easily break free from, and the Lord has had a hard time of it. Every time he gets close, we try to run back to Egypt, but we have to cross over this Red Sea of turmoil and chaos and see the opportunity on the other side. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, we might not be the generation that makes it to the promised land, but we have to make the journey for the next generations that can. And we may sit on the hill and watch them go and make that last journey, but that's beautiful. And that's, if anything, a better privilege than even making it to the promised land, because the promised land can be corrupted. Obviously, when Israel reached the promised land after Egypt, they corrupted it. They fell. America will eventually fall enslaved into probably the world government, but we don't have to let it be now. We don't have to give up now. And America doesn't have to be submitted now, even if the rest of the world submits. They're not going to be all of the world submitting. There are plenty of nations that are already not submitting. We just don't listen to them. We don't hear them. We're not shown them, but they're there. They're reaching out to us. They're asking for us to hear them and hear their pleas. That was what happened in Hong Kong before all of this started. This started to stop what was God's awakening across the world and trying to rally his people to move before the end, times come finally. Everybody asks, oh, the end times are going to come. When are they going to come? You guys don't realize the grace and the mercy God's been giving us. He's finally might actually give us what we want and leave us alone. And you guys want that, I guess, but that's a horrible thing. If God finally leaves this planet, then we're fucked. So I think it's probably wise for us to get a fire at Earth, but to make him realize that we don't want him to go yet. Because that's important. It's more important than anything. And I think that in the coming days and in the coming months, we're really going to be challenged, regardless of what happens. I pray, I keep praying, and I hope you guys are praying that things work out for the best, that people make the right decisions, that if things have been misled and manipulated in the elections, they'll be made right and exposed. But that's not necessarily how the world wants things to work, and I don't know if that's necessarily how the Lord is going to let things work. He might let the world be deceived. He might let everybody in our nation be deceived. If that happens, we can't give in still. That's not a rebuke against us. That just means that their time has come. We have to stop worrying about the rest of them. I don't want that. I want us to have more time. I want the restrainers to stay longer. But everybody else has a choice. They choose to receive God or not, and we keep trying to offer it. We have more chances to, hopefully. We gotta pray for more chances. But if we don't get them, then we gotta keep moving on. Our best bet is in places that aren't the most obvious, but we gotta stop worrying about the unsaved as much as we need to worry about saving those who are already on the process of being saved and just need to realize that this reality is worth fighting for. Everybody else who's willing to jump ship will jump ship with the rest of us, but they're gonna have to realize that they have to see the urgency in us. They have to see the reality in us. They have to see us stop trying to be like them and actually accept what we are. We're just something that is like them, but also has decided that that's not enough anymore. That we need to actually have reality in us. Not just this physical reality, but the spiritual reality too. And a balance in both. That's where I'm headed. I don't know that's where you all are headed, but that's where we need to be. So when we move forward, I just want you guys to know, keep your hope up, keep your mind up, keep everything going straight, keep your ambitions up, because they're really trying to crush us right now, and they're really trying to make us seem like idiots right now, but that's just how it works. That's the way these times are supposed to be. We are lucky if we're not in end times. We need to stop acting like the end times not being here is somehow something that is like, oh, well, I guess let's just go and BS around now, because obviously the world's not ending. It's like, okay, sure. That's the proper way of treating a reprieve from being shot. Oh, you didn't shoot me. Let me go ahead and just sit around when you tell me to run. So yeah, keep your hope on the swivel. You keep throwing it out there for everybody, but you got to make sure it's tinged with the truth. That hope comes with resilience, diligence, and vigilance. So keep moving, shepherds. Our time's coming to shine.